Well, this is unexpected. My game Hex-a-Decimal just won Untitled Game Jam 105. I mean, it was a three-way tie, but that's my first time winning a game jam. I was originally not going to make a devlog, as any attempt to explain how this game was made would make it sound less like a journey, and more like an experiment in the effects of sleep deprivation on a programmer. However, with my decision to continue working on the game after the jam, and interest from people in the Untitled Game Jam community, here's how Hex-a-Decimal came to be, and what I plan to do over the coming weeks. When the theme for the game jam was revealed to be chain reaction, I got very excited and quickly thought of a puzzle game involving conveyors, numbers, and hexagon grids. In fact, the moment I thought of the idea, I knew it was going to have a hexagon grid, and as it turns out, I had previously programmed simple scripts that essentially translated a square grid into a hexagon grid, allowing me to streamline the process of working with one. All of my prior thinking about hexagon grids paid off when it gave me a slight head start after easily implementing one for Hex-a-Decimal, allowing me to focus all of my attention on the game itself. I started by building the level editor to streamline creation of levels and eventually package it with the game so that players could build their own levels. The structure of the game, 50 levels at a level editor, is a slight homage to GrabStack, my very first Untitled Game Jam submission I made nearly a year ago. With the grid implemented and level select menu working, it was time to fill the game with 50 unique and challenging levels. This would be quite the undertaking for a single person, but I was up for the challenge. The minimum viable Hex-a-Decimal level includes a 16, referred to as a hex in the tutorial text, and a 10, also referred to as a decimal in the tutorial text. The player can use the mouse to place conveyors connecting the two. When the simulation is run, the hex powers connected conveyors every 6 cycles. The conveyors send power down the line every cycle, and the decimal can be powered every cycle. If the decimal is powered 10 times before the hex counts down to 0, the puzzle is considered completed. The puzzle used for this example is the first puzzle in the game, with conveyors that have been pre-placed by the level to help players understand what they need to do. With the first level added, new features could be developed that expand the mechanical depth of the game, and new levels could be made that introduce these mechanics and test player knowledge of these increasingly complex interactions between them. Every mechanic was added this way, first adding new features and mechanics, then making levels to test the new mechanics, before putting those test levels in the level pool to introduce the new mechanics to the player, and finally making more challenging levels using the new mechanics to test player knowledge. Once I had 50 levels, all I needed to do was make the rest of the menus and publish the game. This was just a short summary of how Hex-a-Decimal was made, a mini devlog if you will. Pretty much the entire development process was just refining the level editor, making levels with it, and making the menus. Of course, there were two major things I left out, playtesting and music. Pretty much everything I talked about so far has been said in other videos. I've already explained my process of building a level editor, then levels, then finally the menu. The music, however, despite being a part of almost every game I've made, is something I've never talked about on this channel before. This is because there isn't much I can say about the process of creating music for my games. I've been considering learning FL Studio for a while, but for game soundtracks I stick to this website with a name so simple, yet so hard to pronounce. Since it's a website, sharing music is as easy as pasting a URL into the descriptions of videos I made where you can find the soundtrack for Hex-a-Decimal. Feel free to modify them as you wish, and if you want to use them in your own project, all I ask is that you credit me. Something that I've discussed slightly more than music, but haven't taken seriously until this project, is playtesting. Throughout the week or so that I was making Hex-a-Decimal, I contacted as many people as I could to do as much playtesting as physically possible. This helped the game significantly, as the tutorial, something I traditionally neglected until the last minute, was quickly and repeatedly refined such that almost anyone who picked up the game could understand it. This was a breakthrough considering my previous games were known for being unintuitive, but with lots of playtesting I was finally able to communicate my vision to the player base.
That's pretty cool, I like that.
It's really it like feels really intuitive. It's easy to play. Okay, so
with that out of the way, I would like to talk about what direction I'm taking Hex-a-Decimal, and what should be expected for future updates. Version 1 is out now, with bug fixes, slight changes, and visual polish. Along with this update, I have started a Discord server where I post frequent updates regarding what I'm working on, and plan to receive feedback, as well as host playtesting sessions, things that will allow me to make my games better. The links to the itch.io page for Hex-a-Decimal, as well as my Discord server, can be found in the description. I love hearing people's feedback and reading people's comments, so if you want to show your support, leave a comment and consider downloading the latest version of Hex-a-Decimal or joining my Discord server.